We are building something slightly different from the earlier one. So we are doing a project of iterative creative problem solving, also known as design thinking loop. So what do you mean by design thinking loop? So it is, known like a 5-step process. So start up with empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So we're gonna implement this process using not just sequential agentic system, but also we will also utilize a loop, especially the last 3 steps: ideate, prototype, and test. This actually is implemented as a loop. So whenever you ideate something new, you create a the proper prototype and see whether it passes the bar. If not, you go back to ideation phase and then produce a new prototype and do the testing again. So that's the idea. And then here's the exact the seed input by a user. So the context here is folks are running a small independent coffee shop but struggling to build a loyal customer base. Okay, customers sometimes come but they rarely return. Often choosing the big chain coffee shops instead. And the owner doesn't have much the marketing budget and need a simple low cost way to connect with the local community and turn first time visitors into regulars. Okay, so what we are going to do is we're going to turn first time visitors into repeat customers using a agentic iterative design thinking workflow as shown as this. And as you have seen before, the system architecture should look like this. So we have a root agent, and there are 3 agents attached to it. I mean, we are running this in sequence. We start up with empathize agent, then define and design sprint loop. And within the design sprint, this is a loop. So we are looping these 3 sub steps: ideation, prototyping, and testing. And then we allow the maximum number of the looping or iteration to be 3. So let's build this using Cognitive Foundry. So as before, create a new project, and I'm gonna name that as the iterative creative problem solving. Very genetic and general. And you will see a root agent. And for this root agent, okay, I'm gonna copy the description from the Word document and paste it here. So design thinking is a nonlinear iterative process that teams use to understand users, challenge assumptions, redefine problems, and create innovative solutions. Okay. And which type of agent do we select? At the high level, there is a sequence, known sequence. So empathize, define, and design sprint loop. So we're gonna choose sequential agent. All right. Then what should be the first sub-agent within this sequence? That is empathize agent. I'm gonna create it. So it gathers like a user needs and pain points in a context, right? That's what it does. Why don't I just define its definition? Description. Like I said, gathers user needs, pain points, context based on initial user query. And the instructions, here it is. So here's the role. You are an expert user researcher and identify users' goals, constraints, and pain points. Produce a concise, structured summary to help the define agent, the following agent, draft a problem statement. And you can expect we are saving the output as what? Empathy summary. Simple as that. So that's about it. And we're going to move up the directory. And you will see the Empathize agent is in place. Next up, define agent. As we opt in for sequential agent, there is an arrow coming from Empathize to define. And let's define agent. What is its description? It synthesizes findings from the Empathize stage, the earlier one, into a clear, actionable problem statement. And here's the precise, explicit instruction. So you are a product manager, not user researcher as before, is it? You are a product manager. Convert the empathy summary into a single actionable problem stating using, the earlier empathy summary. And then follow this particular format and output only that sentence. Okay? And then the output will be saved in problem statement. Okay. And go back to root agent. And we have empathize and we have define. I'm going to zoom out a little bit to free up some space. And then what's next? The design sprint, which is a loop. So I'm going to type in design sprint loop. Agent type. What agent type should it be? It is? Yes, loop. So I'm going to hit edit agent. So first up, the description. So it manages the iterative cycle of ideate, prototype, and test, and repeating up to, say, 3 times or 5 times until the prototype passes the quality gate. Okay. So speaking of the maximum number of iterations, you can just, name your own preferred desirable number, but I'm just gonna stick to 3. 3 is good enough. And within this, what do we have? We have the first one is ideate. Okay. And the second one is, after ideate agent, we have prototype. Okay. You see those arrows starts off from ideate, prototype, and then circles back to ideate, since there are only 2 sub-agents here. But as I add the third one, you will see the arrows flowing differently. The last one is what? Test agent. Okay. Ideate, prototype, and test. And from test, you can go back. It may go back to the ideate agent again, unless it stops. It exits. All right. So I'm gonna revisit the ideate agent. Its description. So we describe it as generates a creative solution based on the problem statement earlier. Okay. And then here is the precise instruction. And this shouldn't be a loop agent. This should be what? This is LLM agent, right? Yeah, this is standard LLM agent. So let's see. Yeah, there's an instruction. So you are a creative designer. Generate one innovative, feasible idea for the given problem in this, following this particular format. This the problem statement is taken as input, and if this is the second iteration, you probably have some sort of feedback from the test agent. So that's why, if any, utilize the prior feedback as you generate, new refined feasible idea for the same given problem. All right, and then as the output key, we're gonna name it as current idea. Okay. That's pretty much it. Ideation. Okay. I mean, it's really up to you. You can either open it up for Google search or not. But I just, at the moment, I didn't select this one, but you may. Then go back to the design sprint loop. Okay. That is that was the Ideate agent. And then, oh, they are all loop. Oh, okay. So I should edit it. So this shouldn't be the loop. This is just typical, standard LLM agent. Okay, the prototyping description. Create a tangible text-based representation of the proposed solution. Okay, sounds good. And then instruction. You want a rapid prototyper. Create a clear text prototype of the current idea. Current idea came from what? Where? Ideate agent, the preceding one. And show a short user flow sample signage or message script that the shop owner could deploy immediately. Okay, fair enough. And then we're gonna save the output as current prototype. Okay, I'm not gonna select Google search at the moment, but you may. And go back. And the last but not least, test agent. It should have been, again, the standard LLM agent. And description, here it is. Acts as a quality gate, like a quality assurance gatekeeper, if you will. Evaluates whether the prototype fully solves the problem statement. Okay. And here is the specific and detailed instruction. You are a quality assurance analyst. Judge the prototype against problem statement. That was already being produced. If it fully resolves it or solves it, called exit loop. Output only the tool call. If not, return specific and constructive feedback for the next cycle of ideation. Default stance is no. Only exceptional 10 out of 10 solutions pass. Okay, you sort of intentionally raise the bar really high. And then output is going to be saved as a test feedback if there's any feedback. And you have to hit exit loop, enable exit loop tool for this agent. Yeah, that's if and only if the current prototype fully resolves the problem at hand. Okay, so I think that's about it. Let's see if I go back. Looking good. And going up, root agent. Okay, these were the three. And if I hit this icon, yeah, you get the bird's eye view. Empathize, define, and design sprint. And within design sprint loop, these are 3 steps. Awesome. So we're ready to execute this agentic system. So let me fetch the original user query, right? And I'm gonna hit execute button. Fingers are crossed. Right, it's taking, I don't know. How long has it been? 10 seconds? And counting, like a 15 seconds. If you're curious, you hit this one and you can see sort of, intermediate sort of outputs. It has already completed Empathize agent step. So this is the summary of user needs in terms of goals, pain points, context, and success signals. And then through this define agent, this one sentence problem is stated as a one sentence, okay, as it is. And then it was doing some ideation. So it's named what? Named as the Community Brew Passport Program. The Community Brew Passport Program. Remember, this is a coffee shop. So the concept is a physical or digital passport that rewards customers for discovering and supporting local independent businesses with a special focus on your coffee shop. Okay, so it says it's complete. But you know what? I don't see prototype, the result from the prototype. So like I said, this is not gonna happen on your screen, but on my screen, I have to sort of refresh it and see. There are 11. It's been through 11 steps. Empathize, define, ideate. Okay, and here is the first prototype. And did it pass the test? No. The first prototype, whichever that is, you can find out by reading the details, it failed to pass. And then the beauty of this tool is there are some feedback, comments, why it failed to pass. And those information that are circled back to the Ideate agent again. That's why it says, thank you for your feedback. I understand the previous prototype focused too heavily on how and what without fully addressing why it works. So, okay. So this is the second round. And there is a new prototype, immediate in-store onboarding experience and initial reward. Sounds awesome, but I will let you read. And then did second prototype pass the test? Unfortunately, no. The prototypes still, guess what this is, blah, 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 blah. However, the core problem statement requires a way to easily and affordably engage first-time customers. I think that's, one reason why this particular prototype failed again. Then it goes back to the ideation. And then there's a new prototype, I guess the most latest version. And did it pass the test? No. But you know what? The entire loop thing stopped here because I set the maximum number of iteration to be 3. Then what does your gut say as to what to do next? I will probably relax the number of max iterations. I think here, it says, I forgot whether I typed it as 3 or 4, but I'm gonna increase it, even higher number, like a 7. Okay, and see what happens. I'll probably just rerun the whole thing. I'm gonna copy the query and paste it here. Oh, not the complete. That's not the original query. And here is the second attempt. as you see, I mean, I'm using the exact same the user query as a seed input, and you can see the intermediate sort of results. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is fun, interactive sort of learning tool, if you will. It says it completed after 3 steps, but I mean, the fact that I'm not seeing prototype, it makes me sort of refresh the page. There you go. So 7 steps in total. So empathize, define, ideate, and here's the first prototype, whichever that is. Did it pass the test? No. So it came up with a new ideation, new idea. Accordingly, produced a new prototype, and I'm not gonna read through, but you can read it. I guess this is the end. So the fact that I don't see the no from the test agent, it means that it successfully concluded. I mean, the second prototype was good enough, was satisfactory, that it passed the test. So what I have shown you is how you can build your multi-agent or multi-agentic system. In this demo, the second demo, we are utilizing not just sequential agents but also loop agent. Okay, from here you can explore different initial queries and rerun everything, or even adjust quality gate. Remember the quality gate, the test agent? So you can even further raise the bar or let it become more lenient. I mean, it's really up to you. And there are a lot of things you can do from here. So I hope you guys enjoy exploring this fun Cognitive Foundry platform. And again, I look forward to your feedback and comments. And happy learning.